Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
This is the Geek Podcast with just one page of secrets.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Geek Fruit Podcast with me, Tejas and Jishnu. Hi Jishnu.
Hello.
How are you?
Nerds.
You're nerds.
Yeah.
This guy's nerds. And we actually spent a lot of time with a lot of them this weekend. Wasn't it? This weekend? No, I mean technically last weekend, but this weekend. For everyone who's listening right now, as they do.
Still very tired.
Yeah, we're exhausted.
Yeah.
Being a nerd is exhausting. And why do I say that? It's not it's because if you have to do Comic-Con, you have to be super prepared to stand for a long period of time because there's no seats, there's no nothing. It's literally walking around in circles.
It's one big fish market.
It's pretty much that. And that's
one big nerd market.
Nerd market.
Yep.
Geek fruit market. Huh? Am I right?
Nope.
Not really.
Not there yet.
Not there yet.
Nope. We'll get there.
But, so that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. We went for Comic-Con Express in Pune, which was
So
Pune's
this was
first.
the smallest
Yeah.
of the Comic-Cons, right?
So far, I mean, at least, yeah,
Essentially.
from all the ones that I've been to. And especially since Express is supposed to be the traveling version of Comic-Con. Like, I remember going for one of the first few editions of the Express, which was in Bangalore, which I went with Bashub, who's also part of Geek Fruit, and was there as well this weekend. And yeah, man, that was held in Kormangla Stadium in Bangalore, like the indoor stadium. And it's quite big. It's like kind of like NSCI here in Bombay. I don't know if it's quite as big, but it's quite a sizable like venue. And that was huge, man. And I was like, whoa, this is even for like an Express edition. So I thought that's what Pune was going to be like, but it wasn't. That's not a bad thing, though.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind that it was small. I was a little disappointed with the lack of variety of what we were getting.
Sure.
But for me personally, I mean, like I said, I'm still really tired because just in general, large crowds really fatigue me, if I can put it that way. But also more so than this, the fact that it was tiring was like, within like the first few minutes, I got the same problem that I get anytime I walk into like a really big department store,
which
or
is
like any kind of big shopping mall. It's just like sensory overload.
Overload,
and
yeah,
like, I just
definitely.
can't, like my eyes just can't handle what's happening. As it is, my eyes are super sensitive to light any which way. I mean, like I just couldn't really absorb everything that I was seeing because it was like.
Because you don't have those superpowers.
I don't have all that. Yeah, so.
No one can just absorb it. I mean, some people
Not yet,
can.
anyway.
Not yet. But
somewhere there's a radioactive leak waiting with my name on it.
I sincerely hope not.
I can see from my house. I can see what is it? I forget what it's called, but it's like it's
the Deonar fire.
Yes. Wait,
ground.
what? Yeah,
the landfill.
Thing. No, not the landfill.
The one which happened recently. Are we talking about that?
No, I'm talking about that. I'm talking about there's like a thing across the bay where there's like this, what looks like a volcano that's like constantly going up. It's not a volcano, but it's like a, it's like
Wait, you're talking about like east, which looks into the Ghats. Towards the Ghats, towards the hills.
Yeah, towards the Ghats.
Okay.
You can see this little, very tiny but very
flame,
vivid
right?
Flame that's going up, billowing up and down,
Dude,
small and
that's
bigger.
that's the place. That's the
place?
Yeah.
No, but this has been for years.
Well, sure, that's where they're doing it for years. If there's going to be a radioactive place, that's your best bet.
All right,
well, not radioactive, but I don't know. Like Killer Croc is probably.
I can see my house from there. That's
wow.
good.
No,
my house can see it.
Yeah, you live on a very high floor. So
yeah, I
you
live
can
on the
also,
9th floor. So
yeah,
that's high enough, I guess.
Yeah, you can see it, pretty much everything. So,
what the hell were we talking
about Comic-Con Express.
Yes, sensory overload. I couldn't handle all the hustle and hubbub, but I guess, I mean, this was my first Comic-Con ever. Like, I've never been to one before, so I was very excited, and I'm very glad I went, and I was very pleased with the affair. But yeah,
it's good fun.
It's great fun.
Yeah.
But I guess now that I know what I'm getting into, I mean, I knew what I was getting into before I went into it anyway. But now that I really know what I got into and what I would be getting into if I were to go again for another one, which I definitely will.
Of course, now we're gonna have to kind of
have to go to everyone now.
Everyone now, yeah.
I hope that I'll be better prepared.
In fact, that's what I was saying is
tough.
that you were probably we were all exhausted because we were working also over there. I mean. It's all fun and games until you have to put it down for your website, which is good. Like we got a lot of like work done, like personally for Geek Fruit. So that's great, and it's
who knew?
And in fact, that's something obviously I'm going to talk about little like more in length. Is that everyone was kind of I wouldn't say surprised, like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? But they were pleasantly like saying, oh, okay, I didn't know there was like a website that does this.
Yeah.
And that is pretty much the reason, I guess, why we started this whole thing. And we met a lot of people who could have, who can definitely, who definitely need the exposure. And one of the good things that Comic-Con is doing, and we'll go through all the goods and the bads, but it's just that at least there is some platform for them to do their work and promote it, and it really helps. And the fact that they have been there for like the last, I think this is like the 15th edition, they've been doing it across like 3-4 years, so it's pretty good, man. Like their heart is in the right place.
Definitely.
Yes.
And I liked, well, I said, there wasn't much variety, and we'll get into specifics in a bit. I was very glad to see that there was a decent representation of what we'd like to call indigenous artists and authors over there. So yeah, and I'm glad that they were also, their stalls were pretty actively visited. I mean, it was a small place, like you would end up seeing every little inch
exactly,
of it.
Yeah.
But,
it was only one hall.
Which, I mean, I guess that kind of worked to their favor. So I mean, that's great for them. I always saw tons of people in line at their stores. I don't know how well they sold, although I know one of the guys did sell out.
Yes.
One guy did. I guess they probably did pretty well.
They all kind of got like a limited run of like, they didn't like get endless like copies, because they knew this was like Express, this is the first time it's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that made sense to them. But having said that, I mean, like, the merch and all is cool, man. It's always cool to I mean, it's usually our major gripe with it is that there's more merchandise than anything else. But I mean, it was still great to see, considering it was the first one in Pune, and I love Pune, it's like home for me, so it's good to see like lots of people cosplaying and stuff.
Right.
It's quite funny also, some of them were like, I don't mean to be an asshole, but there was like an overweight Deadpool.
Yeah.
Just so, I mean, it was just like awesome. At the same time, it was like,
there was also a Spider-Man who looked amazing. Like, damn, like he had
an amazing Spider-Man.
He had a solid costume. Like, it was great. It was like, it had the rubbery latex kind of thing. So like, it looked super legit. And he was outside, and he was getting mobbed by a bunch of people who want to take photographs, as you do, as would happen. And then this one little kid, like maybe like a 3-year-old with his dad, comes up, and the Spider-Man guy gets really excited, like, hey, little kid, come, let's take a photo. And the kid also starts to get a little scared, because like, that's a lot of people, and the Spider-Man is gigantic. I didn't think Spider-Man would be this tall. And the kid like is on the verge of tears. And then to calm him down, Spider-Man just busts out some really hardcore Marathi at him. And it was incredible. Like, I don't speak Marathi. I don't know if it was Gali or not. I don't know what he was saying. It might have been, for all I know. Like, he was very animated. I'll put it to you that way. And it was just bizarre. Like, just seeing Marathi Spider-Man.
Amazing.
It was a spectacle.
It was spectacular. Okay, cool. On that note, we're going to take a short break, and then we're gonna hear an ad for a podcast. Which one is it going to be?
Now, if you want to listen to some brilliant indie music from all over the country, it's really simple. You can find me on Made in India. That's madeinindia.in. My name is May, and it's spelled M-A-E-D. Now, I've had some great artists on the show, including the likes of Nikhil D'Souza, The Cognac Net, Last Remaining Light, Tejas Menon, The Other People, Alicia Pays, Lakshmi Baum, Vasudha Sharma, Ankur Tiwari, and so many more. Now, if you want to subscribe, you can go to iTunes or Stitcher or your favorite podcast app, or you can find me on my website. That's madeinindia.in. That's M-A-E-D, or on Twitter and Facebook on Made in India.
We're back in Bombay.
Hello.
And we're saying that because we were not in Bombay. Is this our first like outstation visit?
It would seem.
No, it's not actually.
It would not seem.
Yeah, because we did another thing. We went to Imagica, but we'll save that for another episode.
Nobody knows about that. Shh.
It's a black op. It's fine. Okay. Nobody talks about Imagica.
Secret.
Yeah, but we did go for Comic-Con Express Pune.
If you don't believe us,
we're gonna travel back in time for a second.
Listen to us.
Do sound effects, Jishnu. Hi, and welcome to the Geek Food Podcast, very special edition.
Nerds, I'm high on Red Bull.
Yeah.
Because I'm so tired already.
So, actually, you're catching us right at the very end of a very special event, which is Comic-Con Express in Pune. So, this is actually our first episode, which is outside of...
On location.
Yeah, it's on location. It's outside the studio. We do go out.
We have a life.
We have life, and the life is spent at Comic-Con.
It's very expensive.
Yeah, it's been really, really expensive, obviously, because there's always been a lot of... Comic-Con India has always been a lot of merchandise, which you cannot help but collect for yourself because it is cool. They do have a lot of, and it's that collective effect, man. Like when you see all of that shit together, you're just like, wow, damn. I really want to kind of just. When I see all of it together, I just want to buy all of it by myself.
You know what the best part is right now? There's a man standing right next to us just listening, and it's great.
It's great. It's
because
awesome.
we have fans.
Yeah,
or I guess admirers.
Maybe
is
we
more
should give him a card. Actually, yeah.
We could totally do that.
1 second. While we're doing this podcast,
look at us marketing ourselves.
And we just got new cards and stuff.
Here you go.
Boom.
Bam.
Yeah.
You can listen to what you're listening to right now in the future if you go to that website.
This is like a time capsule
This
for
is
him.
so great. This is so cool.
We should, tell me, what's up, man? What's your name?
Mayank.
My name is Tejas. This is Jishnu.
Hello.
And we run a nerd network online called Geek Fruit.
Okay.
You should check it out. It's geekfruit.in. And we basically discuss a lot of nerdy stuff, like what's going on inside. So that's why we're here. We're part of the media.
Why don't you tell us, were you here yesterday or is today your first day?
Today, the first day only, yeah.
Have you been to one before?
This is my first time on Comic Con.
So how come you're here? What brings you to Comic Con? What are you a fan of? Like, what do you like?
Batman, bro.
Batman.
Everyone's like Batman.
Of course. No, but Batman is everlasting. It's great. So have you picked up any merchandise here?
What?
Have you picked up any stuff? Like,
No.
Are you planning to?
Are you planning to? So do you know that there's a lot of original Indian comics also here?
No.
Yeah.
Wait. I didn't check it.
So you should definitely go check out. There's some really good indigenous stuff which is made by Indian authors like Abhijit Kinney, who we spoke to also and we'll be talking to in this episode. We spoke to a lot of these guys. You should definitely go and support the Indian comic book scene, man. All right, Maya?
Don't
Cool.
just buy Batman.
Yeah.
Buy more than
Batman has enough
Batman
money.
has enough friends.
Yeah.
The
Cool.
Indian guys need more
Thank you so much, Maya.
Thanks so much, man.
Cool. That was
Look at-
interesting.
That was special.
Yeah, we've never done a mid-interview, mid-intro scene kind of thing.
A mid-interview interview. Well, no, that's not an interview.
A minterview.
Oy, I'm so tired.
Yes, we're really exhausted. It's been 2 days over here, and even 2 days just been on our feed, speaking to a lot of authors, which we're going to be featuring in this episode. Like I said, got a lot of really cool cosplay, some cool art.
I genuinely saw a bunch of people wearing blue, a bunch of girls, and I thought that they were all Jasmine from Aladdin. Turns out they were just like the cleaning ladies who all wore blue. It was
But
great.
that's a uniform, yeah.
I was like, kudos, man, great uniform. It looks like a Disney princess.
Yeah, you look like even the people who are helping here and the staff and everyone is also in proper uniform. Okay, cool, man. So
We should like leave and like go recuperate somewhere.
We are going to
and
do just that.
Continue when we are not on the verge of tears.
Yes.
Because I am.
Because we're very tired, and there is such a thing as too much.
Jesus.
We are very exhausted. We're gonna go eat.
Slight sensory overload.
Yeah. And last thing, man, lots of Deadpool here.
That's no surprise at all.
Flavor of the year.
That is no
Deadpool.
surprise at all.
Yeah,
But
we're gonna talk about that. And we spoke with the writer of Deadpool. One of the writers.
One of the writers, yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna have a word with all of them. Actually, we already did. This is in the future, and that's in the past.
Wait, I haven't sung my song yet.
Yeah, go for it. Have you thought of one?
No.
You haven't? Come on.
I'm just-
Something about Comic
I'm
Con
just buzzed.
at the same time. You know.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm just way too tired.
It's okay, man. But I thought Nerd Bull would give you wings.
No.
No? Okay, cool. So we're gonna take a song break. Our producer's gonna hate this.
I'm gonna go cry. Alright, bye.
Okay, bye.
You can listen to Cyrus Says from our apps on iOS, Android, or our website, cyrussays.in. You can also listen to services like iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, or your favorite podcasting softwares. It's cyrussays.in.
Welcome back to the Geek Fruit Podcast with
It's us
Jishnu
again.
and Tejas.
So I'm really proud of this pun that I'm sure nobody's ever used before in the entire existence.
Go for it. It
Comic-Con.
better be now.
I want to go through our comic cons and our comic pros.
Yes.
Or comic pros and comic cons.
Well, technically, I mean, you said
That was
it.
hilarious.
It was funny. It was funny.
Make laughing noises.
I've heard it before.
Make the laughing noises. There we go.
Oh, Jishnu, you crack me up. Listen, I've used it in the article which is on our website. No, but it was inspired by what you had to say. It's okay.
It's funny again.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna talk about Comic Cons and Comic Pros. Comic Con was. Let's just like bust out the overall thing first, and then we'll come back to an overall at the end of it. But like, did you like it? Did you have fun? Did you have fun, Jishnu? Did you have a good time?
Well, your face was there.
Oh, so you definitely did. Oh god.
It was definitely was fun, but
Yeah.
not worth 2 days, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like we said, it was small. Being that small, you don't need 2 days.
You don't need 2 days.
Because again, unfortunately, while we understand why, it was very much just a big shopping thing, which is not the worst thing in the world. I mean, like, it was, you had a lot of good local vendors trying to get their stuff out there.
Of course.
And a lot of really good, cool merchandise.
Yeah, which we picked up as well.
We picked up quite a bit of, and we're very happy with those purchases. Great choices, great deals, great discounts. It was awesome. But
we should speak about some of those in a bit.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I was hoping for more. I knew my expectations were not high. I was hoping that I might be surprised by some more interesting panels and stuff like that, of which there weren't very many. But, you know,
right,
it's fun to shop every now and again, so I guess that was good.
I can totally argue
that's all it was,
for the 2 days. Obviously, I mean, 2 days. So yeah, you can be done in 1 day. We had to be there for 2 days because we had work and stuff like that. So I mean, obviously the fatigue and just like the actual, I mean, we got used to it pretty quickly. We did a couple of rounds and it was done, right?
Yeah.
So it's a pretty small hall. In fact, yeah, actually, now that you mention it, something that really didn't work for me was the panels. Like the panels were like a fail in my opinion, because even though the ideas were cool, like we had so some of the panels, like the best parts of the panels were where and like Indian creator was interviewing one of the guests, like the international guests who came down. So that was cool. That we had Abhijit Kinney and Peter Guin do like a interview while they were sketching live, and that's a cool idea.
So Peter Guin was one of the artists
who had been brought on, like him and Ivan Brandon.
Right. So I mean, it was neat. It was a neat party trick, really. That was just drawn on for like an entire panel's worth of time, which was, half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, but just shouldn't have been...
yeah, because basically what it was the guy was on stage with Abhijit Kinney, who's a local author as well, and he was sort of moderating the thing. And there was nothing to moderate, because it wasn't really a discussion. It was, here's a guy who can draw really well, and that's amazing, and he's made some amazing art, and that's fantastic.
He's great.
No disrespect to him whatsoever, but he just ended up drawing on stage when there was a camera over his shoulder, so you could see how quickly he can draw Harley Quinn. He draws Harley Quinn in like literally 60 seconds. And it's
awesome.
Gorgeous. It's amazing. But I don't want to see a guy draw for 45 minutes.
Exactly. So there was no panel topic. That was the thing, right? It was just like, oh, you guys get on stage and make stuff happen, you know? Right. So there was no real like topic, and obviously the only topics and these were within the questions that we also had to ask people, because I mean, it's such this community, we keep saying that it's so nascent, it's so like new, that really, I mean, everyone's question is, so what do you think is like the state of Indian comics right now? And that kept cropping up, and it's a very valid thing, and obviously we're all looking for different answers and different opinions and stuff like that. But everyone's pretty much of the same thing, that, we've just started. So, I mean, while you can't hold that against them, I wish they could have just taken like some like maybe talk about, this guy's drawn a lot of Batman. Maybe like ask him about like, like Batman has been, around for what, close to 70, 80 years now. I mean, what is it that an artist has to do now to keep it fresh, or something like that, like just to keep it, interesting. And he's done a lot of work within DC. He's done Detective Comics, he's done Arkham stuff, like, so he's pretty well versed with the Batman lore, and like we met our friend Mayank, who was so into Batman, and maybe that could have been an interesting, but it didn't. The panel didn't really have any point to it. And here's the other thing that really was annoying. And this is something I mentioned in the article that I wrote, is that it was outdoors and it was hot, man.
Jesus Christ.
It was crazy hot, and they had fans and everything like that. But most of the panel discussion, if you're going to be sitting in one place, it should definitely be an indoor venue.
Right.
I mean, that's one thing. Second most annoying thing, there was the Maruti Alto K10 stand.
That's the biggest con. One of my biggest cons.
Yeah, it was so annoying. So I don't know what the name of that game is, but
it's one of those, like, it's like the strength, the mallet, hit the thing, and like the bell goes up.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can hit it
the marker goes up and hits the bell, right?
Yeah.
So that was literally...
So thankfully, nobody's strong enough to hit the bell. Yeah. Otherwise, that would have been really irritating. But we did, literally every 60 seconds, you would hear just like a thump in the middle of like a panel, while the guy's like, talking to a very dead audience that's dying, and
major fail.
This guy's like, trying everything he can to keep some energy in this room, and like he's getting interrupted by the sound of just a big mallet hitting wood or whatever the hell it was.
It was really bothersome.
They had so much space. This Deccan College ground is
huge.
It's massive.
It was huge.
The convention center isn't even half the size of the ground, so they had plenty of room to like move anything they wanted to anywhere they could. They chose to put the freaking loudest thing in this entire convention
where you need
right
to listen to
next to the panel. What?
Yeah, that did not make any sense.
Who the hell thought this
That was a fail completely from their part, and really annoying for anybody who's seated there. Not enough seats also.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, everyone was sitting on the floor.
At
I was
one
like,
point, I remember we were already fried as all hell because he said it was really hot and we were exhausted. Day 2,
Yeah.
we weren't enjoying the panel, but we said, let's just sit and let's give this a shot and let's listen through them all the way through. And at some point, one of like maybe 50, maybe even 75 volunteers that were
Yeah,
there.
there were lots of volunteers.
They were all college kids, clearly.
From
all
Deccan
the
College,
interns,
yeah.
and whatnot. There were so many of them that they really ran out of things to do.
Micromanagement, man.
The amount of micromanagement was insane to the point that we, who are essentially working
for them.
and like, we're trying to help them out and help promote them. And, you know, we were willing to put up with a hell of a lot more BS than the average person, I think, because of the fact that we were working.
BVS. Yeah.
But at some point, one of them came up to us and said, "Oh, can you please move? We're already sitting on the ground, and it's really annoying. It's hot and all hell." He said, "Can you please move? We need some room here." I was like, "This place is huge. You don't need room, but fine." So we moved. Then another one came by. "No, you need to move back further." Then another one came. "No, please move."
What was the point of that? And besides,
I really
like,
have no idea.
it was a huge venue. Like that space, even though it was outdoors, whatever it is, they had put this, felt carpet kind of thing on the ground.
Yeah.
And just like, there are not enough seats. I was like, it's a panel. There are only a limited number of seats. I don't know how that makes sense. Like, what did you expect? Like, only the media is supposed to sit there, and we were the media.
Yeah.
And we couldn't sit.
Yeah.
And they were just like random people just chilling out on those seats.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. But they should have just had more seats. I don't understand.
But you could clearly tell by the looks on the people's faces that was sitting in the back, which is like the majority of that hall. The majority of the people that was there, that was sitting on the ground, were there just so they could like
Sit
get
down.
a break from standing up.
Exactly.
They couldn't care less about the panel. They were just there to sit.
Very true.
And when they were sitting, they were told to please get up and move again because you're in the way of what? Hell if I know. But you're in the way of something.
Yeah, that was my biggest. That was the biggest letdown I feel for. And your panels are everything. Like, that's the centerpiece out of like around which you plan everything else, right? You have to have things going on so that people have a reason to stay. Otherwise, they can do 2 rounds of the thing and it's done.
There was one panel that I genuinely was very interested in, which was these guys from DSK.
DSK Super Infocom.
The video.
So do you know about DSK Super Infocom?
Actually, I don't know anything about that. I had no idea what they were talking about until like we were there for like maybe 5 minutes, and I was like, "Oh, this is video game development."
So it's kind of outside Pune. I think it's in Loni, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a very, very popular kind of university run by DSK. And a lot of the people, like he also mentioned on stage, who study in that for video game design or just like general design and stuff. It's a lot of animation, etc. They get like reabsorbed into the DSK company where they actually just make games and stuff like that. So it's like I've had a couple of friends like who have studied there, and it's been really great for them and things like that. And so these guys had come down to do a panel on how video games are made, and they had like the funniest, like the most animated.
It was a fantastic buddy cop movie. Like the duo that was on stage was insane because it was like this one uber French guy.
It was French, like the French accent to the point it was like almost a caricature.
It was like a complete satire, complete satire of himself. And like we already, like I said, we were like dehydrated and like hallucinating because we were just so freaking tired. And then these annoying people are like banging mallets behind us. Somebody's telling us to move off the floor. We were not having a good day at this point.
Yeah,
we were really unhappy
really
with life.
exhausting,
Life was not going well.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, Pepe Le Pew comes up out of nowhere and just like busts out some amazing.
He was so hardcore.
He was
that
so
accent.
hardcore, and like, his accent was beautiful. And also, what he was saying, I genuinely was very intrigued by.
Exactly.
He was actually very eloquent, very well spoken.
Yeah, very well spoken.
And he had some pretty decent presenting chops. Like he was charismatic and stuff. So I was very drawn into his presentation, but I just couldn't help but that he was Pepe Le Pew.
It was 80%. His accent kind of doing the job for him in that sense that he was talking about things like vertical slices. It's like, and then you think the pre-production and you think the vertical slices and then you
so
make
racist,
the game
but
like
it's
this.
true. He sounded
and I was
like
just
this. I
like,
can't help
wow, this guy, these people are for real. We're not like stereotyping
But then
French people at all.
the best part, the cherry on top. So we walked in the middle of his presentation, so we didn't know who he was, what he was talking about.
The hutch to his Starsky, man.
Oh my god, it was beautiful. So like halfway through, while he's talking about prep production and stuff like that, out of nowhere, he's like, and now I will turn over to my colleague, and then just...
No, he didn't even say that.
We didn't say that?
That was the funniest
Oh, it just
thing.
came out of nowhere?
It was just like, this guy's like, and then this is how he makes the game, and then suddenly it was like, yes, and then you take the technical design of it, and I was just like, wait, what happened? Like, what switch did it change the channel or something? And it was just like this guy, and it was like, actually, it was just a normal Indian accent, but it was just like, it was so funny.
It sounded so much more Indian. Just like right next to that guy.
Suddenly we just realized the gravity is like, wow, we have really strong Indian accents.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was so good.
That that was entertaining. Though.
But then, so what I'm getting at is though, like, so these guys were very amusing to watch, and they actually knew what they were talking about, and it was great. And like I myself, I work with visual effects stuff, and so I was very interested in what they had to talk about. But then the friggin' presentation itself, whoever was like running the laptop didn't have it all together, and so like,
didn't have it together.
Every other slide back and forth, like, oh no, go back one, oh the video isn't playing, like little things like this.
Okay,
and I was
so
like,
none
at this level,
none of it was smooth.
This is Comic-Con. It has the brand name of like one of the biggest things in the world, and you can't get a simple presentation like a PowerPoint to work.
Yeah,
yet you
it was a bit of a fail.
You know, the realm of like the frontier of audiovisual entertainment.
Exactly, it's true. Yeah, it's very true.
Like,
good point.
This is a tech convention essentially. And your Microsoft PowerPoint is not working.
Yeah, I mean that the entire panel section was quite a disappointment, I gotta say. Yeah, but you know, even the people who are, I think, obviously made up for everything else. I mean, I don't want to diss on Comic-Con so much because they are doing something which is good. I mean, they're giving us like a purpose in that sense. Like they have money, they are figuring it out every edition as they go on. And I think there's some people also that they brought, and actually we're gonna like move on to an interview which I did with Ivan Brandon. So Ivan Brandon, poor guy, he was really frustrated because
he was the other main.
He's the other main international guest.
Yeah, other main panelist guy.
And so his claims to fame are and his resume it speaks of Wolverine. He's done some writing for Wolverine. He's done Deadpool. And the Deadpool team up, and he's done an original comic for Image Comics, which is quite cool, great brand, called Drifter. Now, obviously, I don't think either of us haven't read Drifter, but whatever it looks like, looks pretty sick. It's got some great reviews, and the problem was that everybody was asking about Deadpool because like Deadpool was like it's just fresh out of the movie. Everyone's about like Deadpool is the new Guardians of the Galaxy in that sense. It's like the freshest thing around.
New kid on the block.
It's just really fun, and the movie was funny and everything like that. So obviously everyone's taken to it, and I think he was just really frustrated because
you could see it on his face the minute he walked in.
Yeah, because everybody must be asking him about Deadpool, and that's not his original thing. Right. So I guess that was
I definitely felt some sympathy for the guy because
but also it's like you did do that. I mean, so it's totally fine. Anyway, so we're just going to cut to the interview now of Ivan Brandon. This is us talking to him about Drifter, about Deadpool, I guess, and a couple of other things he's working on. Cool. Hi, I'm here with Ivan Brandon, writer of Deadpool and Drifter. Thanks for being here in Pune. Is this your first time in India?
No, it's my second time.
Previously you were here for...
Just different business, unrelated business, yeah.
So first time here for Comic-Con, is it?
Yes.
So what is your overall impressions generally?
It's been fantastic. The fans have been amazing. We've had a huge line all day long. It's been really, really inspiring.
So I don't know if you've noticed, but like obviously the flavor of the month, or at least in the year, is Deadpool now.
Yes.
So
yes, I have noticed.
Yeah, so obviously because the movie's out.
I think literally every single human I've met in India has mentioned Deadpool to me. So yeah.
So do you find it weird when sometimes like Deadpool was created as a like kind of a meta character? He's like slightly different, wasn't as famous as your mainstays like Spider-Man and stuff, and now a movie comes out, changes everything. Like, do you find it weird like how suddenly from something really small has become really, really, really huge and a huge franchise?
No, I think I tweeted, I think the day after the news broke that it was a huge success. That it just is sort of testament that nobody really knows what sells and nobody really understands how the market works. And
right.
I think it's hopefully will inspire the film industry to take more chances, because I think people have a concept of what they consider to be a precedent or the likelihood of something succeeding, and it's all kind of bull. The audience responds to things that surprise them. I think that the audience doesn't even necessarily know what they're going to respond to, and for whatever reason, Deadpool hit a nerve with people, and it wasn't like anything that really any superhero movie that had ever been made. So
that's true. So I just wanted to ask you like a couple of questions. So for being the writer, you've written for Deadpool. Is it like hard to kind of take a character which is like super iconic? Is there like pressure to kind of like write his lines or like his dialogue in the style of how he was probably originally created? What kind of challenge was that for you?
Well, the dialogue stuff, I mean, I tend to try to figure out what the voice is or what it has been, and then my dialogue is always going to be my dialogue, and I try to at least be respectful to it, but I'm never going to really try to emulate anyone else's style. It's comedic character, so obviously I'm going to tell my own jokes with it and try to be as funny as I can be with it. But no, it's always hard. But I think the best work, for me at least, happens out of a challenge. So I mean, it's something that my whole career I try to seek as much of a challenge as I can on all of my projects. So Deadpool was a character at the time that I didn't have a lot of familiarity with, a lot of history with. So it was really cool to sort of go fresh into this character without, sort of 20 years of baggage that some, of having to live up to, and sort of try to create a story that lived in its own terms,
Last, for all our listeners and readers, can you tell us a little bit about Drifter and what kind of work you've... what's the story? What's it really about?
Yeah, the main story I'm doing right now, like you said, is Drifter. It's a ongoing science fiction story from Image Comics with myself, and painted by incredible German artist Nick Klein, who also did Viking with me a few years ago. It's a very strange story. I had to recently explain to a fan who was trying to get some answers from me, and I did not get them. It's a mystery. It's a character who is trying to go somewhere and sort of fails. His spaceship crashes on this very, very strange planet. It's a planet that doesn't really follow the rules or the physics of this one, and it's a planet also where humans are not the dominant species. Also, it's sort of early stages of space colonization, so it's a very almost, even though it's sci-fi, it's almost a step back technologically, because because you have these characters who you don't really have the infrastructure. You can't really move cities from different planets to another. So this is really just building up a new infrastructure and a new life and new technology. Anyway, so it's that, and it's a revenge story on the backdrop of all of that.
Cool, awesome. Thank you so much for being here, and good luck with your comic. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Amit Gulbaksani.
I'm Purva Mehra.
And I'm Pranoti Datta. And we're from a city website called The Daily Pow. And we have a new podcast called The Powcast. So you can listen to us on the IndusVox SoundCloud page, as well as iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn.
And we're back on the Geek Food Podcast with me and Jishnu.
We say that a lot.
Well, you should make people know who we are.
Well, they're on there. They click the play button.
If they've pressed play, then you probably know who we are.
How would they be listening if they did not press play?
No.
Do you think somebody just walked into the room and there was a Geek Fruit podcast spontaneously playing?
No, maybe somebody else was listening to the Geek Fruit podcast, and this person casually saunters into the room and says, "What is this well-informed discussion that I'm listening to
And
right
then the
now?"
person who was playing it says, "Wait, they will tell you. Just wait for at least about 10 minutes.
Or just wait for the next ad break."
And they will remind you.
Or they could be listening to another podcast, and then within that podcast there's our ad. And then it's just like, hey, it's us again. You thought you could avoid us, but you can't.
So Ivan was cool.
Ivan is great. Even though, like I said, I mean, this is the funny thing is just that, when the moment we started speaking about Drifter, his attention suddenly was like, oh yes, Drifter. It's like, that's because it's his baby, and he created it, and whatever he says, he said about it, it just sounds like mad interesting. This retro futuristic kind of thing set in space. It's kind of like not Planet of the Apes, but not about the story at all, but just how a human kind of goes to another planet and stuff like that. Yeah. That sounds cool. Definitely will check it out. And even the art looks sick, man. Even the design of the cover. And I totally judge a book by its cover because that's what you do when you grew up reading comics. And it just looks really good, man. Yeah. It's good comic book stuff.
Yeah, just like I said earlier, his body language the whole way through. The minute you walked in on the first day, so we saw the two of them, and they were basically sitting at this head desk sort of thing area,
elevated kind of portion,
tiny little stage, right in the middle of the thick of the whole shopping spree that was going on. Yeah, literally just a fish market atmosphere. So just they had to sit there for hours on end both days.
Yeah,
just signing autographs from people that really didn't know much about anything that they did other than Deadpool. Most of whom probably, I would hate to admit, just
watch the movie.
Just watch the movie, and maybe even some of them wouldn't have realized that this guy didn't actually write the movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
it is possible.
I would not be surprised if there's some people like that.
We're being a little hipster about it, but
I mean, it's true.
Yeah,
I can't help it. I remember I just looked up his Twitter account just the other day, right after we left.
Yeah, I remember.
And he tweeted something. He tweeted a photo of a Deadpool iPhone case that they were selling, because they were selling a whole lot of Deadpool.
Yeah, it was.
So he just tweeted a photo of some kid holding out a Deadpool iPhone case that he had just signed, and he's like, I never thought I'd see the day, but I guess, hey, all right, I flew 8,000 miles for this, you know what I mean? Kind of one of those.
That sucks a bit, man. That totally sucks.
Yeah.
But I don't know for him or for us, you know? Like, sure, they are paying him, I'm sure, a lot of money to be here and to represent, like, the Western comic book, approach and things like that. And he has done some really cool work. I mean, I think, should your attitude be a little better about it? I don't know. Like,
it should.
You're coming to India.
It definitely should. But at the same time, I understand the fatigue. He just didn't, his general energy, just when I saw him, he did not seem excited.
We saw him on the first day, and even on the first day, he was like, what am I doing here?
Right.
Yeah. Which is, I don't know. The other guy was slightly more sporting.
Seemed a bit
believe.
more.
But then, he did some more, like he did like quite a fun tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, which is that when Peter Gunn went for his talk, he put a label on his chest saying no affiliation with Deadpool,
right.
which was quite funny because I guess it was like very inside joke that I did Deadpool, I don't like to talk about Deadpool, but this guy definitely has nothing to do with Deadpool. So I guess it was fine. He was a cool guy, and I'm actually looking forward to reading Drifter. So,
yeah, definitely pick that up.
Moving on though,
so
let's talk about
other dude.
Not the other dude. Which other dude?
I thought I said
not Peter. Not Peter Gunn.
No.
Let's talk about our Indian bros.
Yeah, the other dude.
Yeah,
not
the other dudes.
Not that dude, but the other one.
So, like perpendicular to this elevated portion of the stage, there was like the only Indian comic publishers and their CEOs or even some of their writers who are also the CEOs. So, like a lot of these, like. I'm sure they have like smaller teams. So like even the guy who's the principal writer for most of these comics ends up being like the guy who is the publisher also, because that's what they've been doing for the last 4 years. And we met quite a like cool bunch of people. Like they were very different in their approach. All four of them were quite different. But they all had the same kind of energy for it. That, like, not one of them was like, I'm saying like, like how we're talking about Ivan.
Yeah.
Like, not one of them was like that. Even though they may not have been getting like the bulk of the attention from like people, they were like super hardcore into it, and they were like really hard selling this stuff, which is great. Like,
what you need to do.
Yeah, it was great. I don't know who stood out for you, like from the four of them.
So, well, the guy who we're going to be talking about just now, I definitely really liked. He was the first one we went to. Anirudh.
Yeah.
What I really liked about him, I guess all of them in general, was that their area of the convention center, that the one sort of section that they had of the 4 or 5 of them in a line, very, very simple stalls, right?
Yeah.
It was just 3 walls and a desk.
In fact, it didn't even have much of the depth that all the merchandise stalls
Yeah, the merchandise
had,
stalls had space. They had a lot of room and real estate. These guys had a tiny, like a closet, basically.
Yeah, pretty
much. They had a closet and a desk that they sat behind, and they covered the walls head to toe in their artwork, pages from the books, obviously all the different issues, if they had several different issues, of which I think all of them did. And the desk was covered, and it just looked like a lot of fun. It was like a visual treat to just sit there and just like look around. Even if you didn't have the money to buy it, or you weren't sure if you were going to buy it, I just enjoyed just standing there, like marveling at all this work that these guys had done, and seeing that it's just one guy and a core team had put together just this amazing, beautiful visual treat of these different issues that they had.
Yeah.
As opposed to the rest of the convention center, which, like we said, was all merchandise for like buying toys and books that are readily available anywhere else.
Yeah.
And there was like this one tiny video game thing where there were basically people playing FIFA, which was like kind of like I can play FIFA at the Sony Center.
So that was for CEX. It's that exchange game kind of thing. I don't know what CEX stands for, like probably exchange. But it's basically when you're done with the game, you can go and sell it back to them, and they buy it for lesser than the MRP. And then they goes. So it was literally, again, it was just merchandise. And in fact, just to pause a little bit on just some of the merchandise, I just want to bring this up. This was quite strange that and I need to get to the bottom of it. I'd like to at least, is that a lot of the fan art which was there, a lot of the merchandise which was there, a lot of it was licensed stuff, and you could see it there on the product packaging and saying that, like, so for example, like one beautiful piece of art that we picked up was from a place called #Decor.
Yeah.
#Decor, and basically they were making like wall.
They make wall hangings.
3D wall hangings.
Yeah, and they make it out of wood and acrylic.
Yeah, it was really beautiful, really nicely lit, and we picked up a really nice one called The Savior.
It was amazing.
Yeah, so that's probably going to be hanging in our set. And most of it was Batman stuff. So they actually, and I checked, it's all licensed stuff from DC Comics.
Yeah.
So that was one thing.
And it looks, it looks
legit.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
It looks accurate. I mean, you'd never question if it's a fake or anything like that.
Yeah. No.
It also is licensed. That's great.
It's licensed. Yeah. Now here's the other thing is that I saw a lot of fan art and prints and stuff and posters, digital posters that these people are selling. Didn't see any licensed stuff. I want to know how they're going around that if they are not licensed.
Yeah.
How is that happening?
Absolutely.
And a key kind of example of this was a stall called Desi BS. Now Desi BS was basically exactly Cards Against Humanity, and just literally the same black and white monochromatic kind of template, but just obviously it was more relatable Indian jokes. So I think the one which they had put up a life-size card of was like Romeo and Juliet something. This is what stopped them from. This is why Romeo and Juliet killed themselves. And one was like intercaste marriage, and the other one was dowry. So it was obviously a very, sardonic. Very dark look at our own culture and everything like that. But here's the thing. So I was like, okay, cool. Is this licensed from Cards Against Humanity? Because it's pretty much exactly the same. And I went online to their website, which is dcbs.com, and I didn't find any affiliation, nothing. And I was just like, I hope. Obviously, because they have not made any effort to kind of change the style of it. So I hope. I
like the idea of it because it would make sense for Cards Against Humanity to do things like this.
Localize, yeah.
I know that they have their online thing in which, I know it definitely works in the States because I have friends that have done it over there.
Right.
I don't know how it works internationally, but, they have the online setup in which if you want to make, if you're throwing a party and you want to make a game for the party, you can just pay a fee and you can print out your own things.
Yeah, Monopoly does the same as well. Yeah,
so that's fine. So I don't see why they wouldn't want to do that internationally.
It was a little disconcerting.
Yeah,
that
just the fact that we didn't see anything
which said I didn't see
registered
anything.
trademark, any kind of official anything, nothing.
No, so I saw a copyright symbol, but it was for the DCBS, so basically they don't want anyone to steal their idea. I don't know, man. It was a little that, and I'd like to know what happens when you're not licensed. How does that work?
But on that note, actually, I was also very curious about the Soul Store. So the Soul Store had a stall over there as well, and I'm actually old school friends with one of the founders of it,
cool.
Vedant Patel, and so I would really love to get him on the show.
definitely,
one day as well, because so I know that I've just sort of vaguely kept track of what they've been doing via the Facebook page and stuff like that. And I know that recently the Soul Store, relatively recently, I think only like a month or two ago, got the official license to sell Lord of the Rings, and I think Harry Potter.
Were they the ones
who
were selling Speak, Friend, and Enter? Was it that? Was that them? Or I saw some.
I saw. That one.
So were they doing? I can't remember because there's so many different T-shirt stalls. But maybe you can help me out. It was
the very first stall on the right.
Yeah, exactly.
Across from Scholastic.
I remember position-wise where it was, but just were they making just a ring and the same thing, or was it original designs based on Lord of the Rings, or was it like?
I hope this doesn't sound offensive.
Okay.
It sounds all
no,
their
it's
stuff,
fine. Either
all
way,
their
it's
stuff,
fine.
because I don't mean it to be, but all their stuff looks like, and I like it, but all their stuff looks like. Remember those Tantra shirts?
Tantra, yeah.
The Tantra humor, but with Breaking Bad Tantra.
So
or
they have
Harry Potter Tantra kind of
so
stuff.
they have
kind of
subverted the humor, and subverted the concept and made their own stuff. So that's cool,
and it's fine. So
I prefer that, in fact.
I think that goes completely under fan art, right? But I know that now they've been around for a few years. He started the company several years ago, and so I saw online that they recently just finally got the okay to do official Lord of the Rings stuff.
That's cool. Actually,
they do a whole lot of I've seen tons of Big Bang Theory stuff that they make, and some Harry Potter stuff. So
they go in that.
They go in that realm.
I guess Big Bang Theory still works here, but I saw so many Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea. I was like, what
that
are you
really
doing?
Threw me up. There was one stall. There was one stall called the football, whatever, something. I was like, excuse me,
is football become pop culture,
but here's the thing. It was a football stall, and at the very last second, on the very last day, I was considering buying a pair of Flash socks
Yeah.
And then I looked up, I was like, wait, I'm at the football stall. Why are there Flash socks?
I don't know,
You know,
man. I don't know.
And there was like this weird Darth Maul bobblehead
Yeah,
right
yeah,
next to the
yeah.
Arsenal football. I was like, what are you doing? Like,
I mean, it's such a, I'd say most of it is a very blurry line that we also kind of decide, like, when we are deciding for topics also to what to talk about, like, I mean, we stay well within the realm, but there's a lot of things which you wonder, is How I Met Your Mother, like, science fiction? No,
was there How I Met Your Mother
There was a lot of How I Met Your Mother stuff. There was a lot of, I guess Big Bang Theory is still, it's a sitcom, but, you know, science
Big Bang
things.
Theory is the only one that I can
It's
sort of
possible,
pass
right?
over. 'Cause, like,
Exactly.
it's so big to the point that Think Geek, which is one of the biggest online retailers of this kind of stuff that make original products, they have, you know, they probably even in like the hundreds of thousands of
Right.
products on their store. And obviously the biggest hitters, depending on season, will be your Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. Right?
Yeah.
So while they have, you know, you can like choose from products from like clothing items to memorabilia to kitchen utensils to office supplies to like
Wow.
my C3PO lamp, you know, I got from there as well. Everything under the sun they sell, including like a life-size R2D2 fridge, mini fridge.
Oh, cool.
Anything and everything. But so they have, for like the biggest hitters, they have subsection tabs, so you don't have to sift through everything. You just
like
give
most
me
places,
everything
yeah.
Star Wars, give me everything Star Trek.
Of course, yeah.
Big Bang Theory is in that.
Okay, so
Because
it's one of the main
there's
headline.
that much demand for it, I guess.
I guess.
'Cause
I mean,
it's the
it's
most
mainstream.
accessible. Big Bang Theory, unfortunately, I mean, I think it is incredibly accessible to people that.
Can I
you know-
admit I've never watched it, but I
Really?
don't follow it at all.
Really?
Yeah.
You've never seen it?
There was something like very off-putting about it.
Okay, I'll tell you really quick how I came about it, because the show came out in like 08 or 09,
Right.
The summer of 08 or 09, and I was in the States at the time. I was on summer break, and I had a full-time job, but I mean evenings we had nothing else to do, so me and my friends, we would all get together every day
Right.
and have dinner together at this guy's house, and he just got a new TV
Right.
at the time, so I was like, oh cool, we'll get to watch TV and eat dinner. Netflix had just started that transition period between streaming and mailing DVDs to
mail
your
order,
house,
yeah.
right? And so he managed to get. So he was getting adventurous and like, hey, let's like see something new, some random new stuff, and Big Bang Theory was on.
Sure, fair
I was
enough.
like, all right, cool. And so we saw the first season when everybody else just saw it. So like, there was no stigma about it. So I actually I enjoyed
Okay.
it. I was like, this is stupid, light, simple comedy. It's
Okay.
fine. There are
Yeah.
now 8 seasons in or 9
Oh,
seasons
they're
in.
way in. They're way in deep.
I'm done.
Yeah.
But when it began as a little innocent thing that I'd never heard about before, I was like, okay, this is cute and cool.
Yeah.
If you had told me this was going to go on for 9 seasons, I would have slapped you in the face. But it works. I mean, it's fine.
I don't know.
It's
I
cute.
think
it does the job. You know, it sort of bridges 2 different kinds of communities together.
Sure. I mean, like, I don't
So-
know. I never found it, like, as intelligent as it claimed itself to be. And I know that was not what it was about and all that stuff. And it was, the only reason why I even attempted watching it was because Kaylee Cuoco is in that, and she was from this other show called
Eight Simple Rules, and I love that.
That was an awesome show,
But
right?
I didn't care for her on that show. I only liked
Yeah,
John Ritter,
no, she was like
right?
super hot. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna check it out. And I was just like, and then, you know, and it was so funny because the guy who plays Raj, I can't remember what
Kunal
his
Nair.
Kunal Nair, and I just his accent
Kunal
kinda,
Nair.
yeah, kind of put me off.
Nair.
And then it's so funny because he released a book called Yes, My Accent Is Real.
I'm kind of curious. I believe that book is on the audiobook is like out for free now or something somewhere.
So I know, just like, I don't know, I was just
AIB
like, okay.
apparently did a podcast interview with him.
Oh yeah, I
recently,
remember.
which I don't think is out yet. I'm very curious to hear that. 'cause,
Yeah,
like,
sure. That
I
would be
also
cool.
haven't heard an AIB podcast in a long time, so I
Yeah.
want to hear that again.
So,
But anyway,
but here's coming back
What
to...
the hell were we talking
Yeah,
about?
we went away.
Aniruddha.
So here's the thing.
Yes.
So now, here's the good thing about it all. Is that when you create your own stuff, you can do whatever the hell you want with it. And that's exactly what these guys were doing. I mean, people like Abhijit Kini and, you know, Angry Maushi and Udbalao and the stuff that he's been doing with Tinkle. Just like really original, nice art. And then he has a distinct style, you know? Like we saw all those really cool versions of like popular characters. Like he did the really nice Guardians of the Galaxy one, which I missed picking up
Yeah,
on.
we kind of those.
But I mean, really, really nice original like style, and just a lot of commitment to their cause and their community, and it was great. And so we spoke to Aniruddha. So now I don't have much history, but I remember going for Bangalore, the Comic Con Express, like I mentioned earlier, and I was still working at Radio 1 back then, and so I was like, oh cool, let me just interview people for, you know, the show and stuff. And I spoke to him, and he was exactly the same in that sense. Like, he was as committed this time when I met him and I spoke to him as he was back then. And he was just talking about Chariot. And I remember that time he released the comic called Templar. That's when it launched, and it was on sale here as well, which we picked up. And I'm gonna.
So Chariot. So just so the viewers know, listeners know.
Yeah.
So Chariot is the overall series.
So
right?
Chariot Comics is the name of the publishing.
Okay, so
that's like the tag, like
Sure.
DC or Marvel or
Right,
whatever it is. So Chariot
what's
Comics.
the series called then?
So the series is called the one which he released back then was called Templar, and now he's working on a series called Recon, which I believe stands for something. I'm not entirely sure, but it seems pretty cool, man. I mean, like, just again, we're yet to review it, at least by the time we're recording this. I mean, I've yet to read it, but I mean, it's just like the fact that he's like, they're all so really like convinced this is like really good stuff. You should definitely check it out. And this is another thing that I noticed is that a lot of people came onto their stall. They hard sold it to the people who are coming up and saying, "Oh, what is this about?" And they would like jump
Give
into the
you
story
the whole, like,
and say,
synopsis
it's
right
about
then
this
and
guy
there. Yeah,
and this is how he meets this, and they were like, "Oh, cool, I'm gonna pick up the whole thing."
One of the guys, I forget who it was.
Vivek Goyal, I think, for
he was like
Agori.
he was like hardcore giving you like deals.
Yeah,
and
he
stuff.
gave us
was
a
like,
deal, and we bought all his comics.
Yeah.
We bought the entire first season, as he called it, of Agori, which and he was so and we have his interview. We'll play that later, maybe in another episode. But just talking about how his universe is also, melding together. It was great, man. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And
I'm very excited to read that.
So same, and just super excited. And just so we spoke with Aniruddha and about Chariot and about Recon, and here's the interview. Hi, I'm with Aniruddha from ICBM, and a long time ago, actually, I came to your stall in Bangalore Comic Con.
2012, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I think you were launching Templar.
Right?
Yeah, which I picked up. It was great. I just wanted to, because so much time has passed, I just really want to ask you, what is the scene right now with comic books in India? Are we moving forward? Like last time we spoke, you spoke about how this is like the first step that you guys are taking towards making like, better content, getting more prolific, stuff like that. So where have you reached right now in 2016?
So if you were to look at that journey, it's a 10-year plan.
Yep.
We are on halfway through.
Right.
So all the things I spoke about, improving the content, changing formats, that's happened. Because if you remember, Templar, we were still doing singles.
Right.
We moved to a slightly more digest graphic novel format because we realized that works better.
Has that changed generally, like across the world though? Like,
No, singles are still popular abroad.
Okay.
But what's happened is singles now, if you look at it, because there's a digital option.
Right.
So abroad, yes, a lot of people download singles. Even I download Marvel comics.
of course,
Yeah, so I don't pirate it. So, just saying.
I did.
But yeah, that's changed. But yeah, trade paperbacks or graphic novels work better now. For sure.
And what about like the actual content of like the stories and like what the type of stories that you guys are telling right now? Has that based on like what people's reactions are like? We've always had like this mythological kind of arc kind of set in, because I mean that's kind of rooted in who we are. But now we have like stuff like Zombie Rising, stuff like that. So can you just tell me a little bit more about that?
So I mean, all of this has happened sometimes by default and by chance. Like Zombie Rising happened because Luke Kenny had done this movie Rise of the Zombie.
Right. Yeah,
so he just called me up. Do you guys want to do a comic book prequel? I was like, yeah, sure. Zombies are in flavor. Let's do it. Why not? Yeah. So
cool. Awesome.
That happened. And and with Recon, we were doing a lot of singles, and then we decided no graphic novel, and then. In terms of content, and coming back to the question you were saying, we did reconfigure because initially we were just doing a straightforward people fight, spec ops kind of thing.
Right.
We changed it to a more political thriller format in that sense. I mean, and that comes across in Dawn of the Wolf when we made it into a graphic novel.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's great. So tell me a little bit more about Recon and like what is it like that? Is that the latest kind of release from you guys?
So what we're doing is so that we launched in 2013, which is Dawn of the Wolf.
Okay, cool.
Where it ends the story at a particular point, and what we're doing is launching Ascension Protocol tomorrow.
Okay,
and
sweet.
we're doing something cool with this is we are not coming out with we did a limited print run in Delhi. We got an awesome response, so we want to reach out to a wider audience and not be restricted by print. So tomorrow when I launch this, it's available for a free download.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome.
It's just go there, download, I don't care.
So just why don't you tell everybody where you can download it from?
www.chariotcomics.com. It's like right there. The moment you get to our site, it's there.
Oh, kick-ass. Awesome. That's so cool, man.
Yeah, because what we realized is people, even if they download the digital, they're going to come and buy the print. And for us, it's better to reach out to more people and then entice them to the print.
Also just more tactile. Just, everyone, that the thing of reading comic books holding it in your hand.
So our audience doesn't change that way. So anyone who actually reads it will come and buy the print. So it doesn't really matter. I would rather reach out to more people by giving it for free. So configuring the strategy that way. We're trying new things. The other cool thing is, and we are working with this other company called Recon. I don't know if you've heard of them. Okay. So they are building this app where they're turning our comic books into sort of like a motion animation kind of format.
Yeah, motion comics, yeah.
Motion comics, and they're doing a very good job. That so much so that when he showed me Rika, I was like, "This is not my comic. My comic is not that kick-ass." So he's like, "No, this is yours." I'm like, "No, this doesn't look like mine." So he's like, "No, that's what it is." And they're gonna Ascension Protocol is coming after that. They're working on Rika 1 right now, and Ascension comes after that.
So that's the future right now for Chai. You guys are working on these titles right now.
Yeah.
More motion comics, maybe animated kind of.
That's what we're looking at. Because again, now what we've done is, and this goes back to 2012. That time we were chasing numbers.
Right.
Given the scope, how the market has been growing, we realized that's a futile exercise. This is not going to be profitable anytime soon.
It's still really nascent, I suppose. I mean, that's the kind of problem that we're also facing. It's just like, we have to build it.
It's very nascent, so if you're going to be at the forefront of it, might as well, I mean, and that's what everyone else also in terms of Holy Cow and Speech Bubble and all these guys are doing, improving the content. Maybe if we do better content, at least there's a sense of personal satisfaction. If you're doing new things like what Rika was and what it is now, and if you just look at the cover over here, that it's a very different creature. So we're just looking to experiment, and that's fun for us. And it makes sense not to have a target then, because then you're doing new things.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for speaking with us. And we'll definitely be reading your comics, man. Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. Take it easy. So that was Aniruddha. And obviously we have a lot more interviews with some of the other creators, including Shaumik Dasgupta, and we have Vivek Goyal also, and a lot more to come. We're going to feature some of them on our show. But before we go into random news generator, Jishnu,
I have something that I just remembered about. You mentioned that you mentioned Tinkle.
Yeah,
how did you mention? What did you say?
He was a regular for it.
Right. Okay.
And I think he still is, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Okay. So another tweet that I just saw of Ivan Brannigan, just because Ivan
Brandon.
Brannigan. I got
Rodney Brannigan, the double-handed like guitar, like the double-fretted guitar player.
Anyway, just looking at his Twitter account. So, like I said, he posted one thing about that Deadpool iPhone case.
Right.
Another thing which just cracked me up so much was he said, a little girl came up to me while I was sitting at the desk and asked me to sign a book that I'd never seen before.
Oh.
I asked her what this is. She said, it's called Tinkle.
Oh.
Tee-hee-hee, he says. Why is it called Tinkle? To which she says, Tinkle, tinkle, little star.
Oh, it's sweet.
I never realized the connotation that
of the
tinkle
word tinkle
has.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, that's right.
I mean, it's only just ruined my entire childhood, but okay, I'll take it.
How did I never see that? How did I never realize that?
No.
It's called Tinkle.
That is really sad.
So how was that for random?
It was pretty random, actually.
Random.
Not bad at all. But let's go one step further.
Random news generator.
Okay, so random news.
Tell me things.
This is a bit of a stretch.
Right.
And since we were talking about blurring the lines of what we can actually discuss on this show, but I really want to, because you know what a big fan I am of one Dwayne Johnson. So I'm a huge...
Baywatch?
Yeah, of course I'm going to talk about Baywatch.
I'm not going to lie. I was going to say the exact same thing. Well then.
Yeah, because
let me scroll through my phone really quick.
Then it's definitely what we're going to talk about.
Retreat. What else do I have? Okay.
Okay, cool. But I'll give you your time. But yeah, man, let's do it. Talking about Baywatch, the first cast photo is out. Dwayne Johnson obviously in the lead of it.
Yeah.
And so check out this cast, okay?
Yeah.
Alexandra Daddario, she was with Dwayne Johnson in San Andreas.
Yeah,
also.
which I haven't seen yet. I should get it. Yeah.
It's alright, but I love... And there's a sequel also which apparently has been greenlit. Yeah. So, and again, this is only stuff you'll know if you're a Dwayne Johnson fan and if you follow him on Instagram. Yeah. So she's in it. Zac Efron is there in it, who I love. I think he's great.
I think he's great. Yeah. Especially after Neighbours.
Especially after Neighbours. And now he's doing something... Neighbours 2. And he's doing Dirty Grandpa with Robert De Niro.
And also a really raunchy similar thing with... who's it? Is it with Seth Rogen? No.
Yeah, with that guy Adam Devine from it's called Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates.
Adam Devine,
whatever.
With Aubrey Plaza and
Anna Kendrick. Yeah. So yeah, man. So I think he's in that phase right now. So that's cool. That's totally cool.
Yeah.
And who else is that? And yes, of course, our very own
homegrown
exotic Piggy Chops. Priyanka Chopra is there in it. Yeah, apparently Piggy Chops is what she's called.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so this is the cast for this film.
So let me get into some serious Baywatch dissection here.
Let's do it.
Here is what really irks me. Not irks me.
First off, you saw Baywatch, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. So
I have a penis. I saw Baywatch. Okay, like I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, my mother didn't like. She wouldn't allow me. She said until you're 15, you can. But obviously, we used to watch it. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so what I'm really curious about. So with the cast list that they've put out, they haven't mentioned David Hasselhoff, but I will, cut somebody if he's not in this movie. So he's going to show up and he's going to be Nick Fury at the end in the post credit sequence.
And you know what's funny?
I want to talk to you about the Baywatch Hawaii initiative or something.
He's actually played Nick Fury.
Has he?
Yeah, he is Nick Fury.
Yes.
He's the white Nick Fury.
Of course.
Yeah, before black Nick Fury.
So what I'm really curious about. So he's going to cameo at some point and be like really badass and like save the day or some crap. You know, it's going to be amazing. Hopefully he'll do like a German dance song and it'll be great.
Oh my god, it's gonna, I can't wait.
But what I'm really curious about. So they put out the cast list. So Piggy Chops is somebody new. Zac Efron is somebody new.
Primarily new characters.
Yes. For the most part. Now, what I want to know is. So
and I have my answer already ready.
This is clearly set in like 2016 or whatever.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Present day.
Contemporary film.
So it's the continuing adventures of CJ Parker in some way.
Right.
But when the Hoff comes back, he's going to be Old Man Hoff. So is he going to be the same guy who he was back then, just older, and CJ Parker is just like this angelic person who just doesn't age because she uses Fair and Lovely or some crap like that?
Okay.
Or is he just going to be Old Man Hoff who's like a mystic from like way back when, and then
Mitch.
he has
what's his name? Mitch, right?
Yes, Mitch Buchanan.
Mitch Buchanan. And he's probably now legend of Baywatch.
Basically. So is he going to have a Spock moment from like Star Trek 1? Like he's going to meet old Spock and there'll be like a young Spock. So like Zac Efron is like Mitch Buchanan Jr.
So here's my theory. I think I've told you this. I think that CJ Parker, and just really helps because she has initials in her name, is CJ Parker's daughter. Okay? Because she can just be anything. If the first one was, I don't know what her name was. If it was Catherine, then she can just be like Caitlin. I don't know.
Yeah.
So definitely CJ. It could be that she's, everyone will say, oh, CJ, and then when he meets, David Hasselhoff Mitch will meet her and be like, wow, you look really familiar. Do I know you? Have we met somewhere before? And she's like, no, my name is CJ Parker, blah, blah, blah. And then, we'll find out that this is her daughter, and she's like, what? That is crazy. So, yeah, it's gonna be like a mind-blowing revelation, much akin to one Kylo Ren and Harrison Ford. So, yeah,
I don't think that, David Hasselhoff yelling CJ before he dies is going to be as epic. You know what I mean? Like he's on the surfboard.
Oh, do you think someone's going to die in this?
That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. Just like death by shock.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
I think Baywatch in its, I think how many seasons they had? Like 7 seasons? I think they've done everything. So they had shark, obviously. They had submarine. Okay. They had a plane crash, dude. I was like, wow, what more can they do? The only thing I guess they didn't do was tsunami. And but that would be devastating. I don't think Baywatch can.
They don't have the budget for that?
No. I don't think Baywatch can solve that.
I think all
problem.
the budget went to Priyanka Chopra.
No, I think all the budget went on Dwayne Johnson, yo. Come on, this guy is literally a franchise reviver.
That's true.
I mean, he even did that sketch in SNL. He's like, I'm what? He says, I'm franchise Viagra. That's what I do. I bring back dead franchises. But yeah, man, I think it's gonna be hilarious. I don't think it's gonna be super great. but
I will pay.
I'll pay
for this.
Yes, good money to see that. Just to watch Dwayne Johnson. And I can't believe I'm more excited about Dwayne Johnson than any of the women in this movie.
Likewise.
But yeah, man, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And I'm looking forward to this timeline discontinuity, which is there between CJ Parker and Mitch Buchanan.
It's gonna be great.
All right, cool. Next piece of news.
So I'm backtracking a bit because this was clearly way too important to both of us. The other thing I have is so I subscribe to the Netflix US and Canada YouTube page.
Okay.
Just to get trailers. Unfortunately, I should stop doing that because I hate trailers.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny.
Because I'm going to rant about another thing that they're doing now, which is a new kind of trailer. I think
which is what we spoke about in Daredevil, the 2-part trailer.
No, not that.
Okay, something else.
Another thing that they're doing.
Okay.
Which is what do they call it? They call it
featurette.
No, not a featurette. It's called character art. Yeah,
character art
or something like that. Character art or art design for the character, which is not actually
a trailer.
No. So I thought character art. They use the word art or something like that in it. I thought it was going to be like behind the scenes of like the storyboarding or something like that, which I would be in a little
like
bit
the design.
interested in. Yeah,
and
I
stuff.
thought that's what it would be, but no, it's not that. It's 15 seconds, so it's Instagrammable, which is where they're really getting with this.
Yeah.
So they have a character art. They have a separate video for each character. So they have Daredevil. They have Foggy. They have the girl. What's her name? The blonde.
Wow, how did we do this?
I know,
This
right?
is terrible.
So yeah, they have a thing for each of the characters.
God, I'm
but
gonna remember
it's literally 15 seconds of just like creepy thematic music with like Hell's Kitchen midnight background noises, and then like with Foggy. He walks into frame and it's like a very gorgeous silhouette shot.
Yeah, I remember this.
He doesn't say anything.
I remember it's like that motion poster that they had with the backdrop of the city, and I remember it had like
It's not a poster. I mean, because literally, like they just filmed a street, like a tracking shot. The guy walks into frame, and then boom, cut.
Yeah. I think
like,
I've seen this, and I remember in the early way back when there was like an Easter egg, which basically in the first 3 seconds from the zoom out, you can see the Avengers Tower. At the back, way at the back and stuff like that. So that was
in the Marvel's Contest of Champions game, when you play in Hell's Kitchen and you fight Daredevil, you can see the Avengers Tower right behind you.
Oh, continuity! I like it. Good.
Join my alliance.
Or don't, because he will destroy you. Aren't you like playing on like levels like 40?
I'm on level 38, but you can't. No, you can't fight your own alliance, people.
Oh, okay, I see. Oh, so then definitely join yours.
Yes.
Okay. And everyone can join my alliance on Galaxy of Heroes, which is a Star Wars game. It's great. I just reached level 43 or something. It's too much time is spent on these. But it's great. It's great.
Too much.
It's a good guilty pleasure. Yeah, not pressure.
Cool.
So, we're done with this episode. Like I said, you can find our review of Comic-Con and our photo gallery. We've updated our website. That's geekfruit.in. And we were all over Instagram during this week. We kind of live blogged and live tweeted the entire thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, if you guys have any suggestions for episodes, we should definitely do that as well.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from people that actually
seem
to care.
Yeah, they do. I know. It's a fact.
It's
because
quite surprising.
Yeah. And not talking about our producers. Yeah, people do listen to this. And so if you guys have any suggestions for that, it would be cool. You can find us on Instagram and all our social media and all that stuff at Geekfruit HQ. And we have visiting cards now, which we like literally distribute to anybody who would give us a moment during Comic-Con. So yeah, you could. I mean, if you find us, we can give you one. But otherwise, just go to the website.
If you want to collect them, I guess.
You got to catch them all. And there's only one kind. Sorry. So yeah, lastly, you can email us. Where can they email us, Jishnu?
On the computer.
Yes,
or the phone, or the tablet.
Yeah, do either one. It's fine. Contact geekfruit@gmail.com. Cool. Yeah. Next week, we'll do other stuff.
More things.
We'll talk about our Black
Soon.
Op. We'll talk about our Black Op, which is Imagica. Yeah.
Hey, it's not Black Op anymore now.
It's like a grey.
Oh, is this your teaser? Is this your trailer?
What? For the next...
Do a live trailer. Do a 15-second Instagram trailer for the next episode. 3, 2, 1, go. I'll do the background score.
Next week on Geek Fruit Podcast. 5 people. 1 mission. Imagica. Do they survive? Yes, they do, because they're in the next episode. It's gonna be awesome. Imagica. We've done a lot of promotion for them. They ought to pay us something.
Good money.
Good money. Top dollar for Baywatch.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
When this podcast is over, then you have my permission to die.
Hey man, are you hungry?
I'm
perpetually hungry.
I'm peckish.
Alright, then, when about the time you get hungry, you should definitely listen to the podcast. Podcast. It's spelled Powd. Because
it's a pun.
No, it's not really.
It's not a pun.
I know, it is a pun.
It is a pun.
Basically, their website is called The Daily Pow.
Look, is it a pun or not?
It's a pun. It's a pun.
Is it fun?
It's fun, I guess.
Then do it.
Alright, so, if you like listening to our show, then you should definitely check out the podcast. Because they're also pretty like indie and stuff, and they have a website called The Daily Pow, and they review a lot of things in and around the city, like, food and culture spots and city secrets. I don't know what those are, by the way. Are there like secrets in the city that we don't know about? And they talk about like the real gems of Bombay. So if you like it, then you should definitely check it out. It's done by Purva Mehra, Pranoti Datta, and Amit Gurbaksani, who's like a great music journalist. And they're really good at it.
They are very charming people.
They're awesome. Yeah, we just met them, and they're really great. And their podcast is great as well.
It's a fun pun.
And you can
Do
find it on ivmpodcast.com. Not Podcasts. The podcast can be found on IVM Podcasts. Not Podcast. ivmpodcast.com.